Thank you everyone for joining us. I will be doing the presentation today. Amy will be helping us in the background with some of your questions, or if you run into any audio or technical issues, she's available via the chat box. We're hoping to keep this quick for you. We'll do some information and then a Q&A, but to give you an idea of the agenda, if you take a look at your screen, we'll start with a quick overview of MIT and how the Advanced Study Program, which we often refer to as ASP, fits into that. We'll then get into an overview of the Advanced Study Program itself, provide you some application tips, and then get to your questions. So please, if you have questions while we're presenting, feel free to type them in the Q&A box. If we don't cover them during the presentation, we will answer them at the end. So let's get started. Before we talk about the Advanced Study Program, it's important that we take a step back and understand a bit more about the MIT ecosystem and how the Advanced Study Program fits into that. As I'm sure you already know, since you're interested in coming to study at MIT, we are one of the top-ranked institutions, educational institutions in the world, specifically in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. What you might not know is that we are 150 years old, actually 150 years old this year, I believe. We have over 1,000 faculty at the Institute and over 11,000 graduate and undergraduate students. MIT's motto, which not many people know, is Latin. It's mens et manus, mind and hand. And that's a very short way of trying to encapsulate a much broader mission that MIT has, which is one of both education and also practical application of that knowledge. So MIT is not just about training leaders in their fields and groundbreaking research, but about putting that research to use, about creating thought leaders that are able to really develop and put into practice what they've learned, build new technologies, and improve the world. Where does ASP, the Advanced Study Program, fit into MIT? Well, MIT exists primarily as a degree-issuing institution, so like most universities, we offer both undergraduate and graduate degrees. MIT Professional Education, which is the office that we at the Advanced Study Program are part of, falls under the umbrella of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, but we're a bit separate from the degree programs. So here in professional education, we have a number of different sorts of educational offerings that we provide. We have digital programs, which are non-degree online classes developed by MIT faculty. We have what we call our short programs. Those are non-degree on-campus classes developed and taught by MIT faculty that take place here during the summer. And then we have the Advanced Study Program, again a non-degree program, but we are full semester, and we enroll students in the traditional MIT classes offered by the degree programs. So if you study with the Advanced Study Program, you'll be enrolling in the same classes as those students taking, or studying rather, for their bachelor's, master's, or PhD programs here at MIT. So full semester on-campus classes, you'll earn credit for the classes. The big difference is that you're not committing to a multi-year degree program. You're committing just for a single semester, although you can, of course, reapply for consecutive semesters, and you won't earn a degree at the end of the program. Let's talk a bit more specifically about the Advanced Study Program. As I mentioned, we're a full semester non-degree program, though you do earn credit for the classes that you successfully complete. I also mentioned that you can take both undergraduate or graduate level classes. You are required to have already earned your bachelor's degree or higher in order to participate in the program. But as long as you've already done that, there's no limit on which classes you can take here at MIT. You can apply to take both graduate and undergraduate level. Students who do not need a visa can study with us on either a part-time or a full-time basis. So if you're living and working in the Boston area and you'd like to take just one class for the semester, we absolutely encourage and welcome you to apply. If you live in the Boston area or anywhere else in the United States and you'd like to study full-time, we also welcome and encourage you to apply. When you're looking at the course catalog, trying to figure out what makes part-time or full-time, you'll see that most classes at MIT are 12 units of credit. Part-time student is someone taking less than 36 units total, and a full-time student is someone taking 36 or more units total. Because most classes are 12, usually a full-time student is taking 3 or 4 of those classes. If you're an international applicant, if you would like to come and study with us but you need visa sponsorship to do so, you'll need to apply as and be accepted as a full-time student. So if you need visa sponsorship from MIT in order to study with us, you need to make sure that you apply for at least 36 units of credit for the semester and that you're accepted into at least those 36. We go up to 48 units for the semester. Since most classes are 12, again, usually that would be 4 classes. So for full-time international folks, if you need visa sponsorship, you'd be looking at taking 36 to 48 units of credit for the semester. In addition to taking the classes here on campus with our traditional degree students, there are also a number of networking events that you'll have access to through the program, and we'll speak to those in just a bit. Academically, we have over 2,000 classes offered each year at MIT. It's quite a lot. When you start looking at the MIT course catalog, it can be a bit overwhelming, so I suggest that you really take your time, both browse by department, but also use keywords. The search function is pretty good on our course catalog, and you can search for all sorts of keywords. You can search for specifically graduate or undergraduate level classes by days of the week if you're in the area and you only want to study part-time and you know that a certain day is best for you. So really take advantage of those advanced search features. And you can choose to study from any department here at MIT. And one of the questions we get asked is, if I want to take multiple classes, do they all have to be in the same department? And the answer to that is no. You can study, our most popular department, of course, as you can imagine at MIT, is the Computer Science and Electrical Engineering department. But we also have a lot of students that come through our program to study with the Aeronautics and Astrophysics program, the Architecture program, the Sloan School of Management, and any other department here at MIT. And by being a student in the Advanced Study program, you'll have access to the MIT faculty and research space provided by that class. So if you're taking a lab-based class, you'll have access to the lab. Whoever your faculty member is that's teaching your class, you'll have full access to them and the teaching assistants. Especially if you're a working professional and you're looking to take a class related to your current job, that can be a great resource, the access to a faculty member who's at the cutting edge of their field and possibly even your industry as well. Let's speak a bit about the MIT experience while you're here. Advanced Study program students receive MIT email addresses. You also get an MIT ID. Our students are considered special students in terms of classification in the MIT systems, but in terms of access to resources, you have all the same access that the regular degree students have. So that includes all of the on-campus facilities, such as the gymnasiums and the libraries and the dining halls. It includes any networking events or orientation events that MIT holds for the general student population, all of the lectures that occur on campus, competitions like the MIT Hackathon that took place just last month, conferences that are held, all of the MIT student groups, of which there are over 400. You're more than welcome to join. Some unique features of being part of the Advanced Study program specifically are that we have a professional education student lounge for anyone that enrolls as a full-time student in the Advanced Study program. We have a Advanced Study program student lounge with individual assigned desk spaces, lockers, communal computers and printing equipment, access to a shared kitchen. So it's your own study space shared with a smaller number of students. We also hold regular networking events specific for our students, networking luncheons that we have regularly, monthly events such as dinners. In the past, we've gone rock climbing, we've held boat cruises, we've gone to a Celtics game. So being a part of the advanced study program gets you access to all of the traditional MIT student resources, as well as some of those special resources just for the advanced study program participants. Before we get to your questions, I'd like to talk a bit about some application tips. Understanding who is a strong candidate for the program is the best place to start. As I mentioned before, in order to apply for the advanced study program, you need to have a bachelor's degree or higher. If you don't, please reach out to us. There may be a sister program that we have that could be an option for you if you're currently enrolled in an undergraduate program elsewhere. In terms of experience, strong candidates should have at least 3 years of work experience and a strong work background when they apply. So if you are currently working and you'd like to take a class with us, the best applicants are those who are applying to take a class related to their current job. If you're currently working and you're interested in switching careers, you can make a strong case for doing that. We've had a number of very successful individuals come through the program who take classes that aren't related to their current job, but are related to either a future degree program that they're hoping to enroll in or a future career that they're hoping to switch to. So if that's you, we would encourage you to apply. We also enroll individuals who are currently studying as graduate students at different institutions. So if you're studying in Norway, or you're studying in South Africa, or you're studying at Purdue, and you want to spend a semester here at MIT, we would welcome you. The classes that you take should be related to your degree that you're studying at your home institution. And ideally, they'd be classes that aren't offered back home where you're studying. If you can make a case for why coming to MIT is very important for your academic growth and the completion of your degree, you'll have a much better chance of getting into the classes that you apply for. Some personality traits that we seek out: individuals who are aligned with MIT's mission of working for the betterment of humankind. So as I mentioned earlier, it's not just about seeking knowledge, but it's about how to use that knowledge to help the world. Individuals who have a collaborative and cooperative spirit. There are a lot of group projects and classes here at MIT. There's a lot of work, period. So getting into study groups and being comfortable working with students in your class who might come from all sorts of different backgrounds and be of different ages and have different experience is going to take you far. Individuals who are initiators and risk takers do well. Again, the classes will push you. There's a lot of work. There will be many challenges, and sometimes you'll be asked to develop product ideas, business ideas, dream up new scientific experiments, and you don't know if they'll work. But you need to be comfortable taking that risk in order to succeed in our classes here. And then finally, being passionate about what you're studying and excellent with time management is very important. We've had many students come through our program who earned their undergraduate or graduate degrees at Ivy League institutions, and they inevitably tell us that the workload here at MIT is much greater than it was for them back home. So good with time management, especially if you're working a full-time job while you study with us, is very key. International applicants in particular, it's important that you have excellent English language skills. So if English is not your first language, you'll need to submit English test scores. Many of the departments here at MIT no longer accept TOEFL test scores. They look for IELTS test scores. Some do take TOEFL still. However, we highly recommend that you take the IELTS test. Departments look for a score of 7 or higher on the IELTS and of 100 or higher on the internet-based TOEFL. The exam results also need to be from within the last 2 years. And again, if you need a visa, if you need visa sponsorship from MIT, you'll need to commit to studying as a full-time student for the semester. Finally, before we get to your questions, I'd like to talk about the course catalog and how to understand the classes. Because you are applying to traditional MIT classes, we at ASP don't manage the course catalog. You're using the same course catalog that the degree students use. It can be a bit confusing at first, so let's just briefly go through an example class description and what we're looking at here. So at the top, you'll see the class number and title, in this case 15136. The 15 is indicating that it's in the Sloan School of Management, also known as Course 15. Below that, the G indicates that it is a graduate level class. If it's undergraduate, that will be a U. And next to it will be one or two symbols, a leaf and or a flower. The leaf indicates that the class is offered in the fall, the flower that it's offered in the spring. If you see just one of those symbols, it's offered only that one semester. If you see both, it's typically offered both semesters. The third line will indicate any prerequisites for taking the class. In this case, the only prerequisite is permission of instructor. If you see that on a class that you're interested in, please don't contact the instructor. That hasn't worked out so well for some students in the past. As part of your application review process, we will seek that permission for you. So if that's the only prerequisite that you see, you don't need to fill anything out, you don't need to take any action, we'll do it. If you see a prerequisite such as introductory biology or physics 2, you'll have to include on your application how you've satisfied those prerequisites, either in your previous studies or relevant work experience that you might have. The fourth line shows you the number of units total for the class. There will be 3 numbers separated by hyphens, just add them up for the total number of units. For this class, the units are 3, 0, and 6, so the total number of units for this class is 9. The first number indicates the approximate hours of lecture time each week. The second number indicates the lab time. So if it's a hard science class, you might be spending additional time outside of lecture in the lab. And then the third number indicates the approximate amount of time spent preparing or doing homework for the class each week. Again, those numbers are all approximate. You'll often find that you spend more than 9 hours or more than 12 hours on a class, but it at least gives you an idea of how the class time is allocated between lecture, lab, and preparation. The schedule follows that. Lecture is the normal class time. We use M, T, W, R, and F to indicate the days of the week. All of them are pretty obvious except for Thursday, which is an R. So if you see that, such as here under the recitation, T and R, that means that the recitation meets Tuesday and Thursday. The number, if there's just a single number, it means it meets just for 1 hour. So this lecture is at 3 p.m. It goes from 3 to 4. If there are 2 numbers, 3-5, that means it runs from 3 to 5 p.m. In blue in parentheses is the location of the class. You can click on that, it will take you to a map. The first number before the hyphen is the building, the second is the room number. Not something you really need to worry about until you're admitted and finding your class here on campus though. Class description follows that. Please be sure to read this closely, specifically toward the very end of the class description. They may tell you that the class is limited to students in a specific program, such as first-year Sloan School of Management students. If you see a restriction like that and you do not fall into that category, unfortunately the class is not an option. But if you don't see a restriction like that, then you'd be welcome to apply as long as you satisfy the prerequisites with your past education or work experience. The instructors are listed after that, and then whether there are any textbooks required for the class is the final line of the description. So that covers the introductory portion of our webinar. Hopefully that answered many of the questions that you have, but we'd love to answer any additional questions that weren't covered by that piece, so please feel free to type them into the Q&A box on the right side of your screen. Some questions that we've received. Let's start here. What is the time commitment for the program? Excellent question. The only commitment is for a specific semester. So When you apply for specific classes for a specific semester. You are enrolled for that one semester. If you only want to take that class, or if you're not interested in re-enrolling, that's fine. You're here for the semester, and then you can continue on to whatever the next steps in your education are. If you'd like to continue for more than one semester, you're welcome to reapply. The application for returning students is very short. There's no fee to reapply. We essentially just ask you what the new class or classes are that you want to take, and then we send it off to the department. But admissions are done on a semester-by-semester basis. Can I pursue an MIT degree after the advanced study program? Absolutely. So I mentioned before that you won't earn a degree through our program, but you do earn MIT credit. Many students come through our program, they study part-time or even full-time to get those credits, maybe to fulfill prerequisites for a degree program or to get ahead of the game while still working full-time before they quit and enter a degree program. Those credits are regular MIT credits. Any degree program that you apply to in the future can choose to accept those credits. Whether they will take them is up to the degree program. It's fully at their discretion, so check with them first and see if they take transfer credits. That is true both here at MIT and outside of MIT. Some degree programs at MIT will take credits that you've earned for ASP and apply them to your degree. Some won't take those credits. They only accept credits earned in the degree program. So if you're interested in a future degree, reach out to the school or departments that you think you want to study with. Find out what their policies are. That might influence the classes that you take with us. So if I'm trying to summarize this question, if I have work experience and education from a different country, but I'm here working in the United States, do I still need to take a TOEFL test? The answer to that is it really depends. If you've earned a degree from a multi-year degree program taught entirely in English, either undergraduate or graduate, we may be able to waive those test requirements if we receive your transcript from that program and they certify that it was taught entirely in English. If you earned your degree in a different language but you've been in the United States for a number of years, we also may be able to waive that requirement. Keep in mind, however, that while we at the Advanced Study Program can waive the requirement, there are certain departments that do require test scores regardless of your work experience, regardless of where you studied. So if you fall into this category of earning a degree not in English, but maybe working or studying in the United States at some other time, feel free to reach out to us via email with the specific class or department that you want to study with, and we can let you know whether they have a hard requirement for the English test scores or not. I've only been at my job for 2 years. Can I still apply? This is a question that we get quite frequently, individuals that haven't been working for a full 3 years but aren't currently enrolled in a degree program, so they fall into that middle ground. If you haven't been working for a full 3 years, but you have a very strong academic background, and you're interested in taking a class or classes that relate to your current work, we would encourage you to apply. We have accepted exceptional individuals in the past who want to take a class that really directly relates to what they're doing in their professional career. They don't quite yet have the requisite 3 years experience, but they're doing great things in their job. They want to take a class that's really relevant and it would really help them advance their career. We would certainly encourage you to apply in that case. We have a statement of objectives that we require for the application, and that would be an excellent spot for you to explain why you feel you're a strong candidate even if you don't yet have the work experience. Housing is another question that comes up a lot. If you're already living in the Boston area, you have that covered, but if you need to relocate here to take classes, that's certainly something that you'll want to consider. Because we're located right in Cambridge, just across the river from Boston, there are tons and tons of housing options off campus, and we usually encourage students to pursue those. You can find something to fit almost any budget. Keep in mind, Boston is a bit expensive, but if you're willing to live with roommates for the semester or year that you're here, you can really keep those costs down. There are some on-campus housing options, but our students are assigned housing only after the degree students' housing needs are met, and only if the degree student housing needs are met. So oftentimes that means not knowing whether there's on-campus housing until maybe just a day or two before the start of classes. So for that reason, we'd really encourage you, if you're planning to relocate, to find some off-campus housing. Final question before we wrap up, is financial aid available? We do not currently offer any financial aid or scholarships. Most individuals that come through our program are self-funded or company-funded, or they're able to transfer their tuition from their home university here. If you don't have funding through any of those options, there are lots of independent scholarships and financial aid organizations that exist, specifically groups that provide assistance to folks who fit into unique demographics or certain groups with certain interests. So if you come from a unique ethnic group or from a small country, or you have a particular interest in a very specific hobby or area of study, we would encourage you to do some research online to see what might be available for you. There are lots of options out there, just requires some research on your part to find them. Thank you so much for your questions. If you have any further questions that we haven't gotten to, or you think of anything else while filling out your application or considering the program, please feel free to email them to us. We'll include our email address at the very end. But before we finish, we'd like to just do a final review of the application process. We strongly encourage you to begin it now. As long as the application is open, you can begin it. Filling it out with your demographic information and your statement of objectives and your educational history is pretty straightforward. It doesn't take too long, but securing your transcripts might take some time, especially if they're from a different country or if they're in a different language. They'll need to be officially translated, so that can take some time. Securing letters of recommendation can take some time, especially if you're asking faculty members from your previous schooling. As you know, faculty are very, very busy, so you'll want to ask them well in advance. So if you start your application now and get all of those things underway, you'll be sure to have them all complete well before the application deadline. At the same time as starting to fill out your application, I'd encourage you to review the course catalog. The official fall catalog is released on the MIT website in mid-May, and the official spring catalog comes out in mid-November. So the mid-May fall catalog is for the following classes that start in September. The mid-November spring catalog is for the classes that begin in February. There are also always archived versions of the previous 2 semesters also available. So if you go to this link and you look up, you see the main page of the course catalog, and you look in the bottom left corner of the page, you'll see links to archived versions from the last 2 semesters. Those are great places to look to see the previous schedule for a class. Oftentimes the schedules are the same semester to semester. So if you're looking at the course catalog right now and it's for fall and it doesn't have spring schedules, well, click on the archived spring schedule from last semester, and you can see the classes that were offered and what times they were offered to try to come up with your own schedule. Excuse me. Fall deadline is the same for international and domestic students. May 1st to apply for the fall. Spring, again, same for international and domestic. December 1st is the deadline to apply for the spring. If you are an international applicant, we highly, highly recommend that you apply for the fall semester. The reason for that is we have about a 4-month window to process your application and get you a decision and for you to go through the visa application process. If you apply in the fall, from May 1st to the beginning of September is about 4 months. In the spring, it's much shorter, December 1st until the beginning of February. It's only 2 months. So we've had some trouble in the past with folks getting their visas in time for the spring. So if you have the option, we would encourage you as an international applicant to apply for the fall. You're welcome to apply for the spring as well. It just might be a bit of a tighter window there. You'll need to submit, in addition to the application form itself, your statement of objectives that I mentioned. That's your opportunity to explain to us who you are and why you want to study with the program. Your resume or CV, so your educational and work background. One letter of recommendation. You can submit more if you'd like. Only one is required. Your official transcripts from your schooling. Those do need to be official, so either mailed to us, sealed from your school, or hand-delivered to us by you if you have sealed copies from your school, or sent electronically officially from your school. If English is your second language, again, we'll need those English test scores, 7 or higher for IELTS, 100 plus or higher for TOEFL, and the scores should be from within the last 2 years. And then a $75 non-refundable application fee. Thank you so much for joining us today. That concludes the webinar. We hope we answered the main questions that you have. If we haven't, please again email us advancedstudy@mit.edu. We're always available there. You can visit our website, asp.mit.edu, for more information, and we hope to see your application soon. Thank you so much.